Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next exit interview. I am here with Morgan, the seventh member of our jury, fifth placer. First things first, Morgan, what the happened?
You tell me. You tell me. I was not expecting that at all. So, um, I was definitely very happy to see that Jonah had it. And to my surprise, it completely did the complete opposite of my excitement. So, yeah.
So, oh,
Oh,
hello, Jen, and welcome.
Hey.
So let's go. You were in a tribe where you basically did not know many people. Um, you had quote unquote, like I guess pre-existing relationships due to the fact that like we were just at Tofin's wedding, so you kind of knew people, but like not really. But
yeah.
then you saw yourself in a huge majority from there. You literally like what was going through your head when you found out like first of all, you've been to every single recycling bin.
Yeah.
Um, you've
Uh,
never You've
sorry.
only received two votes against you the entire season.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, let's talk about that. The
Did you
pre-verse.
just start there? So I'm guessing. Um, I knew people from the wedding, but like I didn't have a conversation with them. I thought that would help me maybe start conversations, but I saw myself like on the lower end of that where their prior relationships were stronger. Um, so I formed with Bruce and Chrisanne and Allie from like day one, and of course Tanner. I felt like Tanner was like the easy person that everybody wanted to, get out. And I felt like just like with my personality, like that's not fair for me, like to treat somebody like that. So I really, formed a relationship with Tanner. And it's not like I wanted to use him. Like I just wanted to genuinely have a relationship with him and play the game with him because I do think that was fair. Um, Obviously, oh my God. Oh my God. Did you just hear that? Oh my God. Okay, anyways. So sorry. um I just like okay, so we did Lawrence vote out, then we did Gianna, I believe, and then once that blindside for Ali, I was like, oh crap, like this is like over for us because they're gonna basically gang up and like based off the reaction after that vote, like we were done for. um Thankfully, like I felt like I put myself in a position where like I am good at like caring about conversation, so I started talking to Jonah about his personal life, and like we created a bond from there. And then in that same sense, Susie came over, and like me and Susie aren't really close in real life, but like we have a mutual friend, so like that obviously benefited and helped me as well, to where we could have a more trustworthy relationship. And that kind of put me in the majority because I had Chrisanne, Bruce, and Tanner, and then I worked on the relationships with Jonah and Susie. So like I kind of like meshed both together, and it kind of benefited everybody in that party, in my opinion.
Right? Um, let's move on to the merge phase of the game. Once again, you saw yourself in a majority. You've been in a majority from start to finish. Um, and it helped you. It's quite fascinating to see someone who has always like gone to a lot of tribals and always been in a majority. Like we barely see that in the community. Take us through, like the tough. I would say it. My question is, out of everyone that's in the jury, who would you say would probably be like the toughest vote that you've done?
Tanner.
Um,
Yeah, let me think. Tanner emotionally, and then Tommy now that I know more information. So Tommy game wise, now that I know, and then Tanner just like personally, like that was a very hard vote for me.
um,
Bless you.
thank you. So let's move down on a deeper question. Last night was very emotional. Would you say like last night as a whole, Jonah would be the person that you say you feel more backstabbed by anyone else other?
I feel like I'm only backstabbed by Jonah, to be honest. um, but that just like goes to show like my vulnerability in the game and like it being my first game. Like I thought I had somebody who like I literally gave every detail of almost every conversation I had to this one singular person. And I would have never expected that to happen. So like I feel like it's a cop out move because if you wanted to get me out, it could have been done in a more respective manner instead of just holding on to this legacy, which like I don't know if he knew the details of it or not knew the details, but he basically, in my eyes, I helped him get more people out just because he knew he was going to be able to get who he wanted out at this point. So why not? That's where I feel like he kind of like banked on me being a strong player to get him further in the game.
All right, so let's move on to jury management. A lot of pitches last night were based off jury management.
Yeah.
Um, do you think if you had made it to the end, like now knowing what the information you've received from the jury chat, would you like, do you think you would have actually like fulfilled that win?
I do. um, because out of the people that are left, like there's only one person who's played their own game, in my opinion. Susie and Jonah, like I was like, hey, this is what the plan is, and every time was like, okay. And Bruce, I would say I had more conversations and like more like, oh, should we do this or should we do this? Like, how does it benefit us? And like I had that kind of with Jonah, but for the most part, like Jonah did not have a voice. So like I just was like, I'm now thinking about it. I never heard what Jonah actually wanted to do. He just went along with whatever just because his name was thrown out there and he wasn't as active and online. So it was me that was switching it to somebody else because he knew that I wasn't going to let him go.
So,
Okay, allergies.
um, so out of the final four, in a list perspective, who are you most likely to vote for and who are you least likely to vote for?
Um, Game wise, specifically game strictly, I would vote for Alex or Bruce, and both in their own ways. It depends on the argument that Bruce would bring, just because I know you didn't ask reasons, but Bruce has done everything that he said that he was going to do. And for me, like I respect that. And it might not be the same for everybody else, but the games that we played, he's done that. Um, I would probably vote for then Susie, and then Jonah would probably be at the bottom.
Um, so as a first timer, as like like I'm trying to like formulate this into the correct sentence. As a first timer, what would you say like is the hardest part when it comes to playing an org?
The hardest part is understanding that there's more to things. So for example, like of course, like Tommy's not going to be saying the same exact thing to me and Chrisanne and Bruce. Like he has a different relationship with everybody. And I feel like if I was more seasoned, I could have picked up on that like maybe Tommy has more trust with me versus other people and like value that more. So I think one of the hardest things is like not seeing things like at surface value, like there's more to things being said. And at the end of the day, it is a game. So like, yes, like Marvin's block towards Allie, I held on to for a very long time. And at the end of the day, it's just a game. So like I could have worked on a relationship instead of like holding that against him.
Well, that leads
Or
me to the next. Oh, go ahead.
no, which I don't even know what I was gonna say. Go ahead.
That leads me to the next question. If you had a chance to go back into the game, what is there anything that you would do differently?
um, I feel like wearing like my heart on my sleeves and trusting and just taking things like and running with it was probably my biggest downfall. Um, I do feel like it was a nice feeling to have somebody like Jonah who was active and like I would have had that with Bruce if he was more active to have those conversations, but because he wasn't and Jonah was, I felt like oh my gosh, this is my person that like would be like basically my game is in his hands too because I trust him with so much information. And I think like moving forward, like, or if I went back, it was like maybe I didn't understand. I didn't see that I was basically telling Jonah like I'm a fucking great game player with all the information that I was giving him. So maybe I would have pulled back on some of the details and informations and moves that I was doing or how I saw things.
Um, trying to think. So you want two individual immunities, um, two votes cast against you. I like everyone from production, just like I don't know if you read your boot post. I did type your boot post. Um, you should be proud of yourself, first of all. Um, I had a question and disappeared. Um, Going back to last night, are a lot of vocal people. Do you think you could have, um, because going into the majority, we're part of a, big alliance. You were in the majority. Do you think there was a way if you do go back, like if you do go back, if you had a chance to go back, would you still stick with that big alliance or actually spread out and keep those like try to get those bonds with the other side?
I would, knowing what I know now, I think Tommy was like a segue side thing that I could have worked on. Um, and I just wish I wasn't on call with Bruce and Chrisanne because and if I wasn't a part of that call, I would have probably called Tommy and fact checked a little bit more. But because I was like actively on it, I was like, oh my God, this is what we're doing. We're switching it like da da da. Um, I think at the end of the day, I did stick with Bruce and Jonah and Susie. And I think now knowing like I would go back and stick with Bruce and Susie all day long because they were people who said what they were gonna do and they stuck with it. So I don't regret that aspect. I just that was a good read on my part, kind of. But that's probably the only good read I had.
Um, trying to think of more questions. I had questions, but then you basically answered them.
Okay.
Um, as an overall experience, would you play Orcs again?
Yeah, I would. I think I did a good job. I think like it's the fact that like I couldn't be my name wasn't being brought up in an actual vote out, like a legacy had to take me out by one person. So I think that says a lot too. Like if that legacy didn't exist, I think like I would have made it all the way because there was no way my name was going to be mentioned because I aligned myself so good with everybody. That's just my opinion. Um, it was a good experience. I really enjoy the cast. It was a lot of great personalities, and there are like a few people that I can see myself being friends with out after the season. So I definitely appreciate that. It was like an outlet because I was so drowning in work. So like it was overall a good experience. And yeah.
Right. A last question. Um, I think if we're looking at like even season one, we had a lot of first timers. This season we've only had a few. Um, what, obviously we're renewing a new season for season three, and then we're gonna have season four, so we have future seasons. What would you say, or what would you give and on a newbie aspect, tips and advices that you would give to other people who want to play Inferno?
Oh my goodness. For me, being myself got me really far. I didn't really try to manipulate and, attack people or, have like a malicious gameplay. And I think that benefited me in the long run. At the end of the day, it's just a game, and like you can only be as honest as you like that the game allows, and I feel like I did that. I didn't really try to be sneaky. Um so yeah, I think just like staying true to who you are and not trying to play a different game style that makes you uncomfortable.
All right. So before we end this interview, do you have any last minute comments or things you would like to get off your chest?
I basically ran this game. I wish this show was televised because I really ran this game. I ran my side of this game. And that's my opinion. So that's all.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching and tuning in. If you decided to watch this, then open the link once the season's over. Thank you again for watching. I am here with Morgan, our seventh, not me almost saying seventh place, our seventh member of a jury, fifth placer. And yeah, with that, goodbye.